Okay. Hey everybody, it's Uncle Doug. I'm here with some of the gang behind me at a Burger King, Excelsior Springs, Missouri, and I wanted to update you on James Brady's fast. And so, there he is. And anyway, so we wanted to do an update. We got a lot of really nice comments on the video, but also some folks saying it was impossible and that I'm a liar and he's a liar and whatever. We made it all up.
God bless you guys.
God bless y'all. Anyway, wanted to update you some, and James had some stuff he wanted to say, so let's do that first.
Just all of the really sweet and encouraging and loving and Jesus-y comments on the one video. I don't remember which one it was, but I read through them one day. I was visiting Alicia, and it was very encouraging. All the ones that said they were encouraged by me, it really touched my heart. I was crying. I was praying to the Lord about it, and I just wanted to say thanks, and it was great that this has helped a lot of people. Yeah, but that's it for. I'm sure there's a bunch of other stuff I'd like to share about that. Yeah.
So how did it come that you felt to fast for 40 days?
Well, the Lord for a while now he will tell me, I want you to fast. And it started out with no food, and then it went to no food, no water. And what he would do is just tell me, you're going to fast until I tell you to have something. And then he did that again about 46 days ago now, and he just told me, you're going to fast until I tell you. And then around day 5, I think I was praying, and he told me, you're going to fast for 40 days. And I was like, you're talking about and I pressed in and I tested really hard, and I said, Lord, are you talking about now? Are you talking about consecutively? I made sure, and it was yes, now, consecutively. And then the question I asked was, Lord, is this a command, or is this is this a prophecy, or what is it? And he said it's both. And I was like, wow.
So not only did he want you to, but he knew you were going to finish it.
Well, he was, yeah, I mean, that's what he said. And I was like, so during the whole thing, it was I knew I was going to do it. I kept imagining if I tried to take a drink of something, a swarm of bees was going to fly in or something. Because that's what he said. And I don't hear from the Lord that often. But when I do, he usually says, I test it really, really hard, and I make sure it's him, and it was pretty profound. And I remember being filled with pride. That's just the truth. At the beginning, I wanted to tell everybody, I was like, I'm going to fast 40 days. This is awesome. Because I believed him. I just did. I knew it was him, and he tells the truth. And by day 18, pride was gone. I was crying like a baby, pleading with him. Can I just be born again? Can I hit the baptism of fire? Can I be a different person so that it's somehow you can say that, okay, I can get out of it or whatever. I mean, it was extremely hard. And he, every time I would start crying like that and praying, it would get, I would feel the attack get a little worse. He was like, all right, that's enough whining.
Okay, and so you were clear that the Lord wanted you to fast without food or water through the whole thing. So did you have any solid food during that time? And what about liquids?
No, I want to say around day 20, my mouth was so dry, and it was so painful that, hey guys, hold on. It was so painful that what I started doing is I would swish my mouth with a liquid and then spit it out. And, by the end, I mean, I was so miserable. And I was trying to rejoice and trying to pray and everything, but I mean, it was so hard that, even doing that wasn't providing any comfort at all. And, I would just start and demons were super, super attacking me. I would throw up, stomach bile. But, no, the answer is no, I didn't have anything. Anyone who said I did have anything, they're just not listening to the Holy Spirit.
So do you feel like even when you swish your mouth out with something, the volume of what you spit out was roughly equivalent to whatever you drank in?
Yeah, okay, so if I could say this, did every single time, did some liquid occasionally go to the back of my throat, and did I occasionally swallow, like a quarter of a teaspoon, yes. And then usually, I would say within an hour, probably a demon would have me throw something up. And it probably I'd throw up more than what I accidentally swallowed. And, someone might say, well, then you're calling God a liar or whatever. And I prayed to the Lord about this, and the answer I got really clearly was accidentally swallowing something when you really don't want to and don't mean to is not drinking. And we're talking about, really tiny amounts. And I really did throw up a lot.
When I have done no food, no water fast in the past, a lot of times he'll let me do communion with a cracker and an ounce of grape juice or something.
That would have been nice.
And you can't under any circumstances say that 1 ounce of grape juice was going to actually get you through an 8-day no food, no water fast. But it was nice to have something in your mouth at least. Typically on about day 5, I can't chew gum because it just turns to sand. There's no spit, and at a certain point you can't cry. You don't have boogers. It's all kinds of weird stuff.
As of right now, this is like day 6. I think it might be, since it's after dark, I think it might be day 7. This whole area is still numb. This part of my legs is still numb, and I mean numb, like I can't, it's like this part of my legs I can't feel at all. It's recovered some because it used to be all the way down to my ankles, and it used to be higher up and stuff like that. So it's getting better, but I mean, the amount of weight I lost, the amount of
How much do you think?
I mean, 100 is probably a good estimate. I really used to be a lot bigger. I don't know if people can recognize that from the old video. I gained back a lot of water weight just by drinking a lot of water after I ended my fast, but that would be a reasonable estimate, I think. But I haven't been on a scale.
Yeah, and you haven't really been intaking a lot. Just in the first 2 or 3 days, it was just little teeny amounts.
I've been trying to drink a lot of water. I feel like I'm rehydrated, but my mouth still feels like it's been burned by a hot poker. There's a lot of stuff that's still messed up, so to speak.
Yeah, there's all kinds of weird physical symptoms people don't even understand because people don't do this. During the fast, you were real sensitive to certain liquids.
Yeah.
Just to even have in your mouth, like orange juice or anything like that.
Yeah, if I tried to swish with something, it would burn really badly. Even water would taste like baking soda. It was really hard and weird. It's hard to explain, and I wouldn't even want to because it sounded like complaining, but there was a lot of stuff that was surprising and unexpected.
Right. So, do you know what the point of it was, or what you learned, or what the Lord did in you during this thing?
Pride was crushed a lot. Really, it was. I had a lot of pride that I didn't recognize. That was, I've been on 10-day no food, no water fast before, which the Lord did. But I think I was saying, I did that. And it was pride. It was not just about the fasting, but just I felt like I was doing a lot of stuff, and this made me realize, both spiritually and just from the experience of it, that without the Lord I can't do anything. It's just as He said, and I had to draw a lot closer to Him. There were times where I was just in such pain, and I was laying in His arms spiritually, and just crying out to Him. He did say something to me during the fast, which was really interesting. It was a profound revelation. I don't know how people will feel about it, but I really believe, I know it was the Lord, and I really believe it. He told me that the Epistle of Barnabas, which is this, it's a letter that's not in the Bible, but every church father and historian believes that it's from the period of Paul and Barnabas. It just was never canonized. He told me that was written by Barnabas and that was Holy Spirit. That was pretty profound because when I came to FOTM, and for years I've been Torah observant, and I have been praying really hard to the Lord. I'm like, I know there are truly amazing Christians here. They have amazing fruit. They have more agape than me because I have been feeling really numb. And I don't understand, Lord, because I had read the Word, I had read the Torah people, and it really felt like, unshakable arguments, and I said, Lord, please explain this to me. And He ended up saying that, and it was a pretty profound answer for me because it addresses some of those issues. It's an interesting letter, but that was one of the things He said. And another thing He said one time is, right after the fast ended, he came to me and he said, which this happened right after I woke up, but so I don't know if it was, I don't know if I remember it word for word, but he said something like, "I'm seeking you," or something like that, and I was like, "Here I am, Lord." He didn't say anything else, so I don't know what that was about, but
Now, he didn't say necessarily the Epistle of Barnabas should have been in the canon or anything, but just that it is a real document and it's worth reading and paying attention to.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a video about it. Maybe you and I together will do a video about it. There is some commentary in there about the dietary laws and what Paul meant, or what Moses meant by them, or what was behind them. And there's also an interesting passage that you won't find anywhere else in the Bible that specifically says in 6,000 years from the beginning is when Jesus is going to come back.
which was interesting to me because I had read that and had seen that in the Bible and thought that was true already, and then when I read it in Barnabas, I was like, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah. I've always had people kind of inferring, talking about the 6 days of work and then the day of rest, and that the millennial reign was Jesus, Lord of the Sabbath, working on the 7,000-year period. But there's no, in canon, there's no specific link to that exactly. But the Epistle of Barnabas just comes out and says it as clear as day. And so it's an interesting thing to read. I would put it in with some of the other church fathers that are, and the
Like Ignatius, maybe?
Ignatius, the Didache, and other stuff that's important to read, and that gives a lot of insight onto what they were thinking and what they were teaching at the time.
I want to say something, actually.
Sure.
This is to the people who don't believe that I'm telling the truth, and that I made it up or something. So one thing I wanted to say to the people who doubt or were claiming, this guy's a liar, it's all false, he didn't really do this, no one can do that. First of all, the people saying no one can do that, through Christ Jesus all things are possible, and he did it, not me. So that's the faith issue that you might want to work out. But I mean, to the people who were like claiming I'm a liar, I really love you guys. I saw a lot of those comments, and I prayed hardest for you guys. The amount of ordeal that I went through, and the people that witnessed it, I mean, we probably had 10 people who witnessed personally and were with me, days in a row, saw me bedridden. To the guy who was saying maybe you got water in the shower, I was so weak I couldn't get out of bed to go to the shower, dude. I just want to testify to you in Jesus' name before God, who says that all liars will have their portion in the lake of fire. I'm telling you the truth, that through Jesus I did this. And you might want to check that with the Holy Spirit. You might want to pray. And, be careful who you're calling a liar. Because sometimes God's the one doing it. But anyway, I just want to bless you, and I just want to testify that. I don't know, I just wanted to add that in there.
Amen. Yeah, there's no profit to us making this up. This is something that God told James to do. I'm not taking any credit for it. I didn't tell him to do it, and but it was the Lord, and it is beautiful and miraculous, and I think it's something that God ought to be glorified. We'll next time you see James, he'll probably have a haircut and a shower, and may have filled out a little bit more. It's some water weight, but it's definitely a tough weight loss plan that I wouldn't recommend to anybody. About fasting in general, do you have anything to say to folks?
No wisdom comes to mind.
Okay, don't do it unless the Lord tells you. If you're going to do something really crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
How about coming off of a fast? Anything you've learned?
Yeah, especially this long of a fast. My first thing I did, I went and ate some chicken noodle soup. Immediately came up. The volume seemed to double as it came up. The self-control and the chicken broth and beef broth for a number of days helped, but it was still hard. It's still hard, as a matter of fact, right now. But just go slow and pray a lot and trust the Lord. And when He comes to you and says, "Be strong, be courageous, don't be dismayed," try really hard to obey him.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, I'm proud of you. God bless you. And we're a lot of people were with you and holding you up. And I kind of watched. I don't know, day 25 or stuff. It's like running a marathon. There's a point where you kind of hit a wall, and you don't think you can go any farther. And then if you go through that, then it's kind of okay the rest of the way.
Yeah, that did happen.
Yeah.
It was like day 18 because I was like, I'm not even halfway done, and it felt unbearably long.
Yeah.
To the person who started fasting with me, I just wanted to add God bless you, I love you, and I'd like to give you a hug someday in heaven, baby.
Well, and there may have been more than one, just a couple that commented about it, but we don't know. We don't know how many out there were watching, and certainly lots of people praying, and we're really grateful. So, anyway, that's the update. There's James's shiny face, and we'll hear more from him as we go on, and as the Lord makes more clear what his ministry is to be. So, thanks, everybody. Thanks for your prayers. In the name of Jesus, amen.